Today I'll look at the ballad known as the Lass of Roch Royal. It is also known as Lord Gregory and the Maid of Aughrim. I'll look at the songs and publishing history, sing samples of the songs, and end on a complete performance of one of the songs. Oh, who will lace my shoes so small? Who will glove my hand? And who will lace my middle so small with a new made linen band? Who will trim my yellow hair with a new silver comb? And who will father my young son till Lord Gregory comes home? Your father will lace your shoes so small, your mother will glove your hand, your sister will lace your middle so small with a new made linen band. Your brother will trim your yellow hair with a new made silver comb. The King of Heaven will father your son till Lord Gregory comes home. She has gotten a bonny boat and sailed upon the main. She longed to see her own true love since he could not come home. She's taken her young son in her arms, and to the door she's gone. And long she knocked, and long she called, but answer she got none. Oh, open the door, Lord Gregory, open and let me in, for the wind blows through my yellow hair, I'm shivering to the chin. The tune was collected in 1910 by Gavin Gregg from Alexander Robb of Aberdeenshire. A young woman seeks her lover, Lord Gregory, who is the father of her child. She sails to his homeland with her baby. When she calls at his home, she's turned away by his mother, who questions her right to call on her son. The young woman is refused entry and is told that Lord Gregory has gone away to seek a bride. When Gregory awakens, he says he dreamt that his true lover had called. His mother tells him that she heard his love calling and sent her away. He saddles his horse and rides off to find her. The tale ends with the young woman and her baby drowning in the sea. The earliest known printing of this ballad was from the manuscript collection of Elizabeth Aughrim, which was collected around 1730. The collection was obtained by the Harvard University during the period that Professor Francis James Child was compiling the English and Scottish popular ballad collection, and this version was printed in that collection. The ballad was titled Fair Isabel of Roch Royal and had 35 verses. The ballad has Isabel riding to find Lord Gregory and meeting travellers who identify her as Fair Isabel, who is banished from kith and kin, and also indicate that Isabel is not the first woman to be seduced by Gregory. It's also clear that Gregory has not contacted the lady, and his mother, who seems to be a dominant force in his life, has tried to discourage the relationship. She clearly knows who is calling at the hall, but is determined that the two lovers will not meet. There's no clear evidence to help us determine the probable date or origin of the Lass of Roch Royal, although it has clearly been in circulation long before it was first collected. There was an article printed in the Journal of American Folklore for 1958 by David C. Fowler, which suggests that the tale told by Geoffrey Chaucer in the Canterbury Tales under the Man of Law's tale may be the original influence on the Lass of Roch Royal. This tale tells of the trials of Constance, who is the daughter of a Roman emperor, and later in the tale undergoes similar problems common to that of Isabel of Roch Royal. The ballad seems to be Scottish in origin and has travelled to Ireland and to North America, particularly West Virginia and North Carolina. There are no recorded versions of the ballad collected in England, although a broadside under the title of The Lass of Aughrim was printed in the mid-1800s in London and in Bristol. It was also printed in the 1847 Roxburgh Ballad Collection. Some of the early versions tell us that Lord Gregory has returned home after the birth of her son, but the lady has not heard from him. Her family are supportive of her situation. They provide a boat to sail to his home, which explains the "Who will shoe thy bonny feet?" or "Who will glove thy hand?" with the reply, "Thy father will shoe thy bonny feet, thy mother will glove thy hand." In the Elizabeth Cochrane early version and some later versions, the Who Will Glove My Hand has now moved to a different position in the ballad. It appears whilst the lady is trying to get entrance to the hall, and gives the verses a different meaning in that the lady has nowhere to go and fears for the life of her baby. The changed position of those verses imply that she's been cast out by the family for having a child when she is not married. This may reflect the attitudes of the communities where excessive, unsympathetic attitudes prevailed. These attitudes were common in Britain up to the 1960s. The early versions reprinted in the Child Collection are very similar in structure and content, with minor variations. The ballad ends with Gregory weeping for his lost love, and in some versions, killing himself with a penknife. The name of the lady varies from Fair Isabel to Annie or Janet. In the Irish version, she states she is a king's daughter. In some versions, she is not named at all, but is referred to as the Lass of Aughrim or Roch Royal, or wherever the ballad names their place of origin. The Lass of Roch Royal was printed several times under various titles during the second half of the 18th century. The earliest tune linked to the ballad is from the 17th century manuscripts once held by Andrew Blakey. There were 2 volumes of the manuscripts assembled in 1683 and in 1692. The earliest set of manuscripts has been lost. If you be the Lass of Roch Royal, as I trow you not to be, you'll tell me some of our love tokens that was betwixt you and me. Have you not mine, Lord Gregory, since we sat down at wine, when we changed the rings of our fingers, and neither worse fell mine? Mine was of the massy gold, and thine was of the tin. Mine was true and trusty both, but thine was false within. Lord Gregory, he is not home, but he's to the sea. If you have any word to him, I pray you leave it with me. Oh, who will shoe my bonny foot, or who will glove my hand, or who will bind my middle small with a broad linen band? Oh, I will shoe your bonny foot, and I will glove thy hand, and I will bind thy middle small with a broad linen band. And I will comb your bonny head with a red river comb, but there's none to be your bairn's father till Love Gregory he comes home. I'll set my foot on the shipboard, God send me wind and more, for there's never a woman shall bear a son, she'll make my heart so sore. The tune is from the Blakey collection of the late 1600s. The words are from the Elizabeth Cochrane version. A short 2-verse sample with a tune was printed in 1787 in Volume 1 of Scott's Musical Museum, edited by James Johnson. This tune has been used several times with verses from other collected versions, but most often with a version collected from Mrs. Anna Brown of Falkland and printed in 1802 in Minstrelsies of the Scottish Borders by Sir Walter Scott. The ballad has generated a great deal of discussion, to which I don't intend to add any comments within this short podcast. I do agree that we do not need to include the songs and ballads to the Lass of Roch Royal listing just because it includes verses which began, "Who shall shoe my pretty little feet?" These verses were probably already current when the Lass of Roch Royal ballad was composed. They sum up the lady's plight, and if they were already known, would provide a familiar set of verses for the audience during the performance. An American country music style song titled "Who's Going to Shoe Your Pretty Little Feet" was recorded in October 1928 by the McCart brothers and Patterson. This became a popular song and was recorded many times during the 1900s, including the singer Woody Guthrie and Cisco Houston in 1945. It was often included in the repertoires of American folk singers. The most frequently heard version of the Lass of Roch Royal in the British folk clubs is that collected in 1952 from Elizabeth Cronin of Ballyvooney in County Cork, under the title of Lord Gregory. The ballad starts at the point where the Lass of Aughrim knocks on the door of Lord Gregory's hall. Do you remember, Lord Gregory, that night in my father's hall, when you stole away my fond heart, and that was worse than all? Leave now those windows, and likewise this hall, for it's deep in the sea you should hide your downfall. My curse on you, mother, and my curse it been sore, for I dreamed the Lass of Aughrim came knocking to my door. Lie down, you foolish young son, and lie down and sleep, for it's long ago her weary locks are waving in the deep. Come saddle me the black horse, the brown or the bay, come saddle me the best horse in my stable this day. I'll range over valleys, over mountains so wide, until I find the Lass of Aughrim and lie by her side. The storyline of the Lass of Roch Royal is similar to that of Clyde Waters, also known as The Mother's Malison. In this ballad the roles are reversed, and it's the hero Willie who crosses the Clyde, which is in flood, to seek his true love Maid Margaret. Her mother refuses to let him enter the hall, and he drowns in the Clyde whilst returning home. Margaret has had a dream that her lover's cold. She follows Willie, only to drown in the flood. There are some fine versions of the ballad The Lass of Roch Royal, with good tunes, and a heroic narrative well worth adding to your own repertoire. I will end this podcast with a version of the ballad with the tune printed in 1787 in the Scots Musical Museum. I will get a bonny boat, and I will sail the sea, for I must go to Lord Gregory, since he cannot come home to me. She's taken a young son in her arms, and to the door she's gone. And long she knocked, and loudly she called, but answer she got none. Oh, open the door, Lord Gregory, oh, open and let me in, for the wind blows through my yellow hair, and the rain drops o'er my chin. Away, away, you ill woman, you've no come here for good, but you're some witch or wild warlock, or a mermaid of the flood. I'm neither a witch nor a wild warlock, nor mermaid of the sea. I am fair Annie of Loch Royal, oh, open the door to me. If you be Annie of Loch Royal, and I trust you are not she, now tell me some of the love tokens that passed between you and me. Oh, don't you remember, Lord Gregory, when we sat down to wine, how we changed the rings from our fingers, and I can show thee thine. Oh, yours was good and good enough, but I the best was mine. For yours was all the good red gold, but mine of diamonds fine. But open the door now, Lord Gregory, oh, open the door, I pray, for your young son that is in me arms will be dead ere it be day. Away, away, you ill woman, for here you shall not win in. Go drown you in the raging seas, or hang on the gallows pin. When the cuckoo crowed and the day did dawn, and the sun began to peep, then it woke him Lord Gregory, and sore, sore did he weep. Oh, I dreamed a dream, my mother dear, and thought it to make me weep. That fair Annie of Loch Royal lay cold dead at my feet. If it be for Annie of Loch Royal that you make all this din, she stood last night at this door, but I would not let her in. Oh, woe betide you, you ill woman, and ill death may you die, that you would not open the door to her, nor yet wouldn't waken me. Oh, he's gone down to yon shore side, as fast as he could fare. He saw fair Annie in a boat, but the wind it tossed her so. The wind blew loud, the sea grew rough, and dashed the boat on shore. Fair Annie floats on the raging sea, but a young sunrise no more. Lord Gregory tore his yellow hair, and made a heavy moan. Fair Annie's corpse lay at his feet, but his bonny young son was gone. And first he kissed her cherry cheeks, and next he kissed her chin, and softly pressed her rosy lips, but there was no breath within.